Adorners, welcome back to Adornment with Adrienne. Today we're going to be making up some sweet potato pie. Happy holidays to you. If you're interested, please keep watching, and welcome back to Adornment with Adrienne. Yes, I can make a sweet potato pie. So come on back, let's make it. Alright, Adorners, welcome back to Adornment with Adrienne. Again, we're going to be making up sweet potato pie. This is one of my most favorite things to have around the holiday. And if you're like me, maybe you have a mom or a grandmom or an auntie or someone, even an uncle in the family who is the king or queen of sweet potato pie. So sweet potato pie to me is a part of Southern cooking and an African American tradition. And it is something that I really love. I've always loved it since I was a kid. My mom used to make the best sweet potato pies. And so today we're going to be making up some insert. I went ahead and boiled up some sweet potatoes. Alright, Adorners, so our potatoes are done. They've been boiling for about 45 minutes to an hour. So soft enough to put a knife through, as you can see. Okay, and I'm going to rinse them in some cold water in a colander or strainer, and then we're going to peel them and cut them. All right, and I'll be back. You might say, Adrienne, auntie, what are our ingredients? Okay, so what do we need? All right, going ahead and boiled up 6 pretty large, well, more medium-sized sweet potatoes. And so we really need, if you're going to have sweet potatoes, you really need about 3 really large sweet potatoes. But because mine were a little smaller, this is more to me a medium size. And I got this at the local farmers market. It's actually like an international market, but it's indoors. Okay, so I got these sweet potatoes there, and I went ahead and boiled them. I boiled these sweet potatoes for about 45 minutes to an hour. You want to be able to put a knife, just insert a knife into your sweet potato. Comes out clean, nothing's on it. We're gonna peel our sweet potatoes and then we're gonna slice them. Okay, it's tradition in my family. I'm not sure if it is for you, but it's tradition in my family to cut the strings on sweet potato pie. Okay, and if you don't do that, sometimes when you blend up your pie, you see all those little strings and it's clumpy. You get all those little lumps all over in your pie. Not that anything is wrong with that, but a lot of times you see people, they peel their potatoes, they might bake them or boil them, but they are not slicing their potatoes. All right, and this tradition, as I said, in my family to do that, so that's what we're gonna do today. All right, so back to our ingredients. All right, so of course we have our potatoes, 3 large, if you can find them, 3 very large sweet potatoes or yams, whatever you call it. All right, so we're gonna need a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. We're gonna need a 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. All right, and so we're going to also be adding in 2 large eggs that we're going to beat. We need 7 tablespoons of unsalted butter. All right, 7 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And that's almost a whole stick, just shy of 1 tablespoon, isn't it? All right, so we need also, what do we need? We're going to use cinnamon, nutmeg. Some people put ground ginger. I don't use ginger. All right, we need a pinch of salt. Okay, we're gonna use a 1/2 cup of milk. This will be evaporated milk for us. We're gonna use about a 1/2 cup of milk, and then we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Okay, so those are our ingredients. Okay, so I will go ingredients one more time. Are you ready? Okay. Some people ask me, please put the ingredients in the description. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And if it's requested that you want the ingredients in the description, then of course I will put them there. Okay, so let's go again. You need 3 very large sweet potatoes or yams. Large sweet potatoes. All right. Then you need a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I'm using light brown sugar. A 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. Okay. 2 large eggs. We're gonna beat those 2 large eggs. 7 tablespoons of unsalted, you can melt it, butter. All right, we're gonna use nutmeg, cinnamon, salt, a pinch of salt. We need a 1/2 cup of milk. I'm using evaporated milk. And then I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So those are our basic ingredients for our sweet potato pie today. All right, Adorners, so what I want to do now is I want to scrape off or peel my potatoes. Okay, and I boiled these and I ran them just a little bit under some cold water and I let them sit. Okay, I put down a paper towel on my cutting board here, and that's just so I can just dispose of the skins pretty easily. Okay, all right, so what we do, as you can see here, let me just show you. I have a fork, a nice fork, and I'm just gonna scrape off the skin of my potatoes. Just scraping it off because I boiled them. The skin should just scrape right off fairly easily with no problem. Okay, once you start it, the skin will just come right off. Keep as much of our potato as possible, but the skin should come right off. The potato is so soft. Basically, I can even cut it with a fork. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'll just get my ends off here. But we just want to get all of our skins off for each potato. And you'll see a few strings here and there. These are strings that we don't want in our potatoes, right? Okay, so that's one. All right, we're doing 4 of these really quickly. Okay, scraping off our skin. As you can see, here's our little potato. Now I have 4 medium-sized potatoes, but you really need like 3. If you're going to go to the store to try to buy stuff for this, you need 3 large sweet potatoes if you can find them. All right, and I went through and just was looking for potatoes that were this size. But if you can't find a larger potato, I would definitely say that you would need 4 to 5 smaller potatoes or medium-sized potatoes for this recipe. All right, so we have 1 more potato. Let me scrape that and I'll be right back. Potatoes. Okay, Adorners, so I've gone ahead and I have peeled our potatoes. Okay, and so what we're gonna do is I have my knife here, a sharp knife. You need a sharp knife. I'm gonna cut my potatoes down the center. We want to be sure that we are cutting our strings. Okay, so I'm gonna cut them down the center, lengthwise, and then I'm gonna cut them crosswise. Okay, same thing for every potato, down the center and then crosswise. Okay, and that way we are sure that we are getting our potato strings cut. Okay, it's nothing like having a good sweet potato pie, but then it's full of strings, right? No one ever says to you, your pie was good, but it had a bunch of strings in it. No, they're not going to say that, but they'll remember that you had a stringy pie. All right, so it's tradition in my family. It's tradition in my family to cut the strings. This is something that we always did. Both my mother and my stepmother, they both did this. Okay, so it's tradition in my family to do this. All right, so we have our sweet potatoes ready. Set this here. All right, so I have my mixer already. I'm gonna go ahead and add my potatoes to my mixing bowl. Okay. All right. Okay, Adorners, so we're gonna go ahead and add our potatoes that we cut up to our mixing bowl. All right. Take them off here. Just put them all in. All right. And if you see any extra strings like from the end or something like that, just go ahead and take that off. That's not something that we want in our pie if we can help it. Okay, and you can see the strings, and we love sweet potato pie, but usually the ends will have quite a few strings in them, so you want to be sure to cut the ends if you can help it. Okay, we don't want that in there if we can help it. All right, and usually the ends, when you boil it, you'll see it'll turn kind of a brownish color, like a greenish brownish color. All right, that's the end. All right, and usually the end is full of strings because it's holding everything together. Okay, let me get this mixing and I'll be right back. I'll scrape any remains up, all right, that have the strings, and we're not going to keep those. Okay, I'm just going to discard that. If you want to eat it, I suppose you could. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, Adorners, so I've added all my sweet potatoes to my mixer here. I'm going to just start that on a low blend. I'm gonna blend those together. On the stove, I just let this sit while I was preparing the potatoes. So we have 7 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and I am going to add that. It's kind of hot, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that right on into my potatoes. Okay, and I am going to blend that together, and I'll be right back. Okay, Adorners, so I have blended in my butter, and I'm gonna, because the butter is a little warm, I'm going to go ahead instead and add in my brown sugar. Now, some people make their pie without brown sugar, but this is just a light brown sugar, but I can't imagine sweet potato pie without brown sugar in it. I think it does, it adds a lot to it. All right, so we're gonna do pack a half a cup. We're gonna pack a half a cup of light brown sugar. All right, and I'm going to add that to my sweet potatoes. Okay, also I'm gonna be adding in a half a cup of granulated white sugar as well. All right, so let me get that and I'll be right back. Okay, Adorners, so I have half a cup as well of white sugar, as you can see. I'm gonna add that in as well.
If you would like a sweeter pie, you would add 1/4 cup to half a cup more brown sugar.
So I'm going to go ahead and add in a half a cup of milk. Actually, I have just some carnation milk. Some people use pet. All right, I just got what was on sale, if I'm being honest, what was reasonable. So I'm going to add in a half a cup of milk. Okay, about a half cup here. I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. All right, so that was a half a cup of milk. Okay, and that was just evaporated carnation milk. You can use pet if that's what you like. Okay, so with that, because I've added this in, sometimes people use heavy cream. They might use a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, but I did not do that. So I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Okay, so I have my flour here. Let me add in my flour and I'll be right back. Okay, Adorners, so I've gone ahead and added in 3 of my half tablespoons. So we want 2 tablespoons, okay, of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. While I do that, I'm gonna add in a pinch of salt, but I'm just gonna add in a pinch of salt. You might say 1/4 teaspoon of salt if you wanna know, like you need to measure out. Since I've already been using my teaspoon, I'm just gonna go ahead and add, this is a tablespoon, so I'm gonna add in a half a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Honestly, I don't believe you can have too much vanilla. Sometimes you can. It's just baker's imitation vanilla, and if you know, some people use certain types of vanilla. They got the vanilla bean, they got all stuff, but this actually tested very well, as I've said in many of my videos on America's Test Kitchen, which is why I use it, even though it's cheap. America's Test Kitchen, I don't know if you watch that show, but I do, and they tested so many different ones, but for the price, this one tested very, very well. All right, let's go ahead and blend this together and I'll be right back. Crack and beat in 2 large eggs. All right, and if you saw my video, I did a video short, I think, about the price of eggs. I actually got these on sale. I had a coupon at my local Kroger. All right, but eggs are going up, man. I don't know if the chickens are upset. Chickens don't want to lay no eggs. I'm not quite sure what's going on. So we're gonna whisk, kind of beat our eggs together. All right, I just had this cup, measuring cup with the milk, but you know, it's all going together, isn't it? So I've mixed our eggs together, and I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate these into our batter. All right, so I'm gonna try to scrape that down a little bit. I actually broke my, the glass bowl that came with the mixer actually fell and broke. And so it's broken, so I am using a substitute. If you're wondering why my mixer is so janky lately. Anyway, let me mix this in, incorporate this in, and let me get our nutmeg and our cinnamon, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, Adorners, so we're going ahead and blend it together, our most of our batter. Okay, and so now it's time to add the all important ingredients. We definitely need nutmeg and we need our cinnamon. Okay, all right, so that's a half a teaspoon. I'm gonna start with that. That's strong. So, but we need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon, well, 3/4 a teaspoon of nutmeg. You can smell this nutmeg. I got this nutmeg, as I said, at my local farmer's market. It's just freshly blended. All right, so just kind of make sure it's chopped up a little bit. It smells so good. All right, but you definitely need nutmeg. Now, some people, if you cannot find these when you go to the store, or it might be too expensive, you can try different things, allspice, ginger. All right, but you do generally, for a sweet potato pie, you definitely need nutmeg. Okay, so here's our half a teaspoon. All right, and I need 3/4, so I'm just gonna put half of that in there. All right, and I need 1 more half teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, Adorners, so we're gonna go ahead and add in our last half a teaspoon. You probably saw maybe one of my other videos, and I was like honey and sugar and baby. And it just depends on how I feel and what mood I'm in. Sometimes I talk real southern and sometimes I don't. All right, sometimes if I'm really hustling, I'm all Jersey. I'm all about yo. I'm all Jersey. My neighbors. I love my neighbors, actually. I do live in the south of the United States, and so my neighbors, I actually know my neighbors. You know, we talk, we borrow sugar, you know, that kind of thing. It's so lovely. Anyway, I know people think that people don't do that anymore, but we do down south. Some of us, we do that. So anyway, let me go ahead and mix in all of our good nutmeg and cinnamon, and I'll be right back. All right, Adorners, so I'm pretty much finished mixing up our batter here. Now, what I usually do is I taste the batter, okay? Because it should taste almost the same as it does when it goes in as when it comes out. Okay, so that's really nice. I'm trying to see if I need anything else. Let me taste another time. I might put just a little bit more brown sugar, maybe a tablespoon or 2 more brown sugar, but I think it's pretty good. All right, let's incorporate it beautifully. All right, so our batter is looking so beautiful. All right, and so I'm gonna go ahead and try to show it to you really quickly. Okay, so I'm in my little kitchen. You know, I used to have a big, giant, beautiful kitchen. I was married and I had a big old beautiful house, but you know, I'm very happy in my bungalow. You know, something about peace of mind. Okay, if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. But peace of mind, honey, I'm gonna tell you what, is worth everything. So here, let's see. So you can see our beautiful batter here. Looks so beautiful, doesn't it? All right, so I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When I went to the store today to buy some pie crust, now I maybe in another video or so I will make pie crust, but I didn't. I just went ahead and bought old school store-bought pie crust. But when I went to the store today, they didn't have anything but deep dish pie crust. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to evenly divide this into 2 pie crusts. Let me get my pie crust ready and I'll be back. Now, I have already preheated my oven to 375 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna be putting my pies on a baking sheet in the oven just in case, and I do that, you know, just in case there's any spills or anything like that in the oven. We don't want spills. There's nothing worse than cooking and you have a beautiful meal ready and then there's something spilling in the oven and everyone thinks you're burning up the food. All right, so we don't want to do that. So a baking sheet usually underneath anything that you're baking is a good idea, I would say. Okay, Donna, so I have 2 pie crusts. I have 2 store-bought pie crusts. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and put these on my baking sheet. Find at my local store. They didn't really have a lot of options. Apparently, people have purchased all. Alright, so I'm going to take my fork and kind of prick the bottom of my pies. Put one down. Go ahead and put them on my baking sheet I have here. Might not be able to see my baking sheet. Gonna go ahead and put those. This is deep dish, but I don't normally use deep dish, but as I said, that's all they have. So I'm pricking my pie crust. They're already ready made. Okay. Alright. And I guess if you were going to make a pie crust, a traditional type pie crust for a pie like this, you would definitely need Crisco. Years ago, my ex, his grandmother, and his grandparents used to live in Mississippi. And he used to love biscuits and like a molasses or cane syrup that they would have down in Mississippi in an old can. He would really love it. So I was down there one time, and his grandmother said, "Come on here, baby. We're gonna make some biscuits." So I went on in the kitchen with her, and she showed me how she was making her biscuits, and she was cutting in her Crisco and stuff like that. She made a well and butter. If I think about it, I'll try to do those. But she showed me how to make her homemade biscuits because my ex just loved them so much. All right, so we have ours. Now, if you are a person who doesn't like to eyeball things and you want to make sure each pie is distributed evenly, you would go ahead and use a measuring cup. To incorporate your batter into your pie shells, but I'm not going to do that. Now, some people they say it's a little trick to add a little brown sugar to the bottom of your pies. I don't normally do that. I might try to do that this year. I think I might try it on one of my pie shells. Alright, so I'm just going to take a little bit in my hand and sprinkle it into one. I heard Miss Lullabelle, that's something that she would do with her pies. We want those Miss Lullabelle, if you know what I'm trying to say. Alright, let me go ahead and put my batter in and I'll be right back. Okay, Donna, so as I said, I'm going to go ahead and pour in some of my batter. Alright, into both pie shells here. Try to distribute it evenly. And if you can see my batter, I want you to see it. Alright, you see how smooth it is? Okay, it's smooth, and what does it not have? A lot of strings and little teeny lumps. Okay, we don't have a bunch of little things. Not that anything's wrong with that if that's your traditional family pie, but you know, do we really want all those lumps? I don't know. Alright, so let me scrape this down, and we're gonna put our pies in the oven on 375 for about 45 minutes to an hour. It shouldn't be jiggling in the middle anymore. Nothing wrong with a little jiggle though. Jiggle, jiggle, right? Okay, so here, okay, hold on. Let me fix this now. All right, Adorners, so we want to make sure our pies are evenly distributed. All right, so I have just a little bit of batter left. All right, I'm just going to take part of it and put it in one and part of it and put it in the other. Our pies. All right. We want to make sure we scrape every little bit because I got these deep dish pie crusts, honey. Oh, I got a store. Where's my sister? About some deep dish pie crusts in California. But that would be for another time. Alright, so let me shake these a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and put them in the oven, and I'll be right back. Okay, Adorners, so I've gone ahead and distributed my batter amongst my pies evenly. You can see nice and smooth and even. All right, we're going to put these in, as I said, in the oven on 375 for 45 minutes to an hour. We don't want them to be jiggly in the middle, okay? So let me go ahead and put them in the oven, and I'll be right back. All right, Adorners, so I've gone ahead and I put our pies in the oven. I'm going to set my timer for I'm gonna set my timer for 50 minutes, and then if I need to bake another 10, I'll check and see. Okay, Adorners, so our pies have been baking for about 50 minutes, and I think I'm gonna let them bake. Let me see, maybe a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna take them out. Let's see, let's shake them and see. All right, Adorners, it's time to take out our pie. I looked at them, I think they're ready to come out. So they've been in about 55 minutes. Now, depending on your oven, you want to make sure your pie is not jiggly in the middle. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out. All right, Adorners, so you see our beautiful pie is ready to come out the oven. All right, let me go ahead and take them out. Okay, Adorners, so we're going ahead and taking our pies out the oven. They look beautiful. Now, when they come out, they might be a little bit more puffy. They might deflate. Okay, but they need to cool for a while. I would say 20 to 30 minutes if you still like your pie warm. And they really probably need to sit for about an hour before you actually cut them. Now, these pies can go in the freezer. There's nothing wrong with baking them early. And they can go in the freezer. And when you get ready to bake them, you can reheat them in the oven if you like. Or you can just put them in the oven. Or you can just freeze them unbaked. Okay, and then when it's time, you go ahead and bake them, and that'll be wonderful because they will have more flavor. The flavor will really saturate the pie. Okay, Adorners, so that's going to do it for our sweet potato pie. If you make this recipe, please let me know, and let me know how your family liked it in the comments. If your oven cooks hot, sometimes people, you might have, everyone's oven actually doesn't cook the same. So you might have your oven on 375 and it might be cooking like it's on 400. So if you kind of have to learn your oven over time. All right, I'm cooking with gas. All right, but I'm gonna let my pie sit for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, just to cool off. And then I'll cut it and I'll try to slice it and let you all see it. But if your oven cooks hot, you may wanna cover the edges with aluminum foil so your edges are not overly brown. Okay, so but I'm pleased with my pies. Again, now you can go ahead and make these pies and you can put them in the freezer if you have space for them. Now you don't have to bake them ahead of time. You can bake them the day of. You just put them in the freezer, cover them with some aluminum foil. You may want to put a piece of wax paper over it, then cover it with aluminum foil. Put them in the freezer somewhere where you ain't breaking the pie crust up. Okay, we don't want to break up the edges. All right, put them on in the freezer, and then the morning, or maybe, and then I would say probably the night before Thanksgiving, if you want to bake them on Thanksgiving Day, you go ahead. Or if you're baking like a lot of people will be baking the night before Thanksgiving, go ahead and take them out that morning. Okay, if you put them in the freezer, and that way when it's time to bake them, you go ahead and bake them, and they'll be ready. And you don't have to. You can bake your pie that day, but you don't have to. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this sweet potato pie recipe. As I said, I love sweet potato pie. I am also going to be doing, I'm going to be doing a series of sweet potato recipes. So I'm going to be doing a sweet potato light bite. When I was a younger girl, I'll just say that, I used to love to have sweet potato pie, and I would have it all the time. But I found that I couldn't have it the traditional way all the time. So what I started to do was I was making my sweet potato light bites, and I'm going to try to do those. And that's made with egg whites. So, and I was doing this way back. But anyways, I'm also going to do candy yams. Okay, and I might do a sweet potato bread. Now, if you had, what we used to do back in the day is if there was filling left over and we didn't have enough pie crust, we'd just bake the filling in a baking pan, and everyone would just cut on it all day and eat it. All right, but that wouldn't be in the actual pie crust. Okay, that would be if there was any. That would be if there was any leftover filling. I didn't have any leftover, as you can see. I'm really pleased with my pies. So let me show you one more time. All right, so you can see our beautiful pies. All right, nice recipe, gonna be really good. Now, if you wanted to add ginger or various things, you can do that too. But I didn't. I just used nutmeg and cinnamon. Okay, Adorners, so that's gonna do it for our sweet potato pie tonight. As I said, I'm gonna let these cool, And thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. And if you're watching this, I did put the ingredients. If you request them, please let me know. Okay, but as I said, as always, and let me just finish our video for today. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe, and I hope your family's well. So let's finish. As always, thank you for joining me with Adornment with Adrienne. I am your girlfriend or your auntie of lifestyle and decor. And as always, instead of saying goodbye, I say saving hello for another time. See you in the next video. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. Whenever you'll be watching this. Okay. See you in the next video. These are my pies all cooled. I'm gonna try a bite, I think. Put them down for the night. I think they came out wonderfully. And I hope yours do too. Okay, Adorners, so I've gone ahead and cut and see what it looks like on the inside. My pie looks like done, cooled. Let's try a bite. That is good. That's good.